I like spoke at my high school's graduation this year, and I asked like other.
Did you feel
friends from-
complete afterwards? Did you feel like my
Oh,
childhood is
that
solved
was like
now?
yeah,
Yeah, well, Lucy's been waiting to finish high school, and it's like we've all been really supportive.
Yeah, I was valedictorian.
What's that? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
What's going on?
You know, nothing much.
Everything. Turin.
Turin.
Music.
Turin, music.
The rest.
We're a Turing machine.
This is like some 70s, 80s level touring shit you guys are doing.
Oh yeah.
It feels like it's never going to end.
Wait, but it literally almost, we're playing our last show at the Bowl?
Was it always the dream to kind of do a show at a place like that? You know, was it the plan at the beginning to go to the Bowl? Do something like that?
Weren't we like, wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think.
When we were recording, I feel like we talked about that.
Yeah.
Like dream places.
Yeah.
Like maybe the Bowl.
MSG in the Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really special. And I think seeing you there is going to be really, really special. It's going to be incredible.
Better be.
How's the tour been? How's it felt overall? I know you're getting toward the end of it. I mean, it's felt very, very wonderful to see you go out and play these shows, and it's been so well received. But putting into a few words, like, has it been the greatest tour you've ever been on, Phoebe?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Leading
100%.
question. But
Leading
for
question, but
sure.
it was funny because I'm like, we had literally one day where we were all in a bad mood, and it's because we went to the Bronte house and entered a space where a bunch of people died of fucking
And
whatever,
absorb-
tuberculosis.
Yeah.
And
water
just, I think
poisoning.
the energy just entered us, and I was like,
infected.
and at the end of the day, like we all debriefed about it the next day, and I was like, it is insane that we had one kind of like bad,
Off
we
day.
had literally one off day of the entire tour, and it reminded me of every day of like my last tour.
Yeah.
Every day was Bronte House?
Yes.
Every day
We call it bronchitis.
It's bronchitis
Yeah.
now and we're feeling bitchy.
But that the way out of it was like, I'm just feeling like I'm stressed out and there's a lot going on. And I was just like the communication level, if clumsy was there at all,
Yeah.
like that there was an effort towards solving it and not just like a war of attrition, passive aggression type thing, or like people being either conflict avoidant I feel like that's my thing on tours. I'm just like,
Katie Gavin from Muna was like, when you've been on tour for a long time and you get home, it's like when you're driving and you have a bunch of crap in your car and you have to slam on your brakes and all the shit in your back seat hits the back of your head and makes like crazy noises.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
felt like that yesterday, where I was like lying on the couch being like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, well, you live here. Do you live here? In LA-ish?
That's a secret.
part time.
Oh.
What? That's
Wow.
the weird.
Well,
It's interesting because out of all of the questions I've wanted to ask,
I
that
spent-
was the lightest touch of all time.
It
wasn't even in
That was
You're
weird.
the worst.
Here could have just been California. It could have been anything.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
I hadn't decided. I basically moved here, but whatever. I think I'm doing worse than the last time we were here. I feel like something's wrong.
I'm so glad this
On
has
the topic
happened
of
though.
tour.
I know.
Because I'm normally the one who's just like, wait, what did I say?
I
And
think
now
we're
you're just
too
like, wait.
comfortable now. I think this
Yeah.
was a mistake. I think we're too comfy.
The reason I asked that question, as strange a question as it seemed, was that it's for you to come back here and to not be off the road, but kind of be home must be strange. That's a drywall in a weird way.
Yeah, well, it's good that y'all are spending more time here because I would be freaking out if we were ending the best tour ever and I wasn't going to see you guys.
Yeah. When we toured in 2018, the aftermath of that tour was deep depression for all of
Mhm.
us, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like really actually
Like life altering.
Yeah.
like
depression.
really bad.
Do you know how happy we are about that? No, but because it means that there's purpose and there's desire to continue going. How many artists or bands I've spoken to who are like, oh, I can't wait to
to be done.
be
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Well, like, because touring affords you this really present, like, day to day. There's a schedule. There's somewhere you have to be. We have to interact in a certain way where we're, like, all taking up space, commiserating about being, like, collectively responsible for the same tasks. But now we'll get to, like, choose. When I choose to hang out with y'all and have y'all's company around me, it's like, you're just in town. You're not
Yeah,
like
like-
really far away.
haven't seen Phoebe since MSG, and then we show up for this, and it's like, hey,
Which I think
Back
was
at
like
work.
1 week ago today.
No,
yesterday.
that was clear.
Yesterday?
That was a month ago.
That is so funny.
yeah, Mm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've aged.
Is that kind of part of the reason that, even sort of as in a subconscious way, maybe why that we're getting the rest now? Because it feels like you could have finished this tour, and it felt like the end of the record cycle. You know what I mean? And like we'll see you later with something, we don't know. But this is like a beautiful dot. Like, you know,
Yeah.
four beautiful dots that continue to go. Did that play any sort of role into the timing of putting it out or anything like that? Because it's perfect.
once we felt good about it, we wanted it out.
yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know if it was like strategic. It's just these are songs that weren't ready for the record, and then we spent time on them, and they're ready now. And
Yeah.
is that kind of right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
It's-
were really excited. Also, like recording, we're getting
We
like
all like these.
really good at recording with each other. That was
Mhm.
what was kind of striking about recording these versus recording the record is I think, you know, we hadn't made something together in a long time when we made the or went to record the record, and just like our communication got so streamlined by the time we went to record this. And we knew it was going to be great, you
Mhm.
know? Like I think the record was so high stakes and it was like such a fun process, but also like we worked for 12-hour days with not a single off day,
Mhm.
Mhm.
which was
for a month.
for a month.
Yeah.
And this was just like,
Was it
we didn't-
3 days? 2 days?
yeah, it was like 3 days.
You can hear it. I mean, this
Yeah.
could be a hot take, and I hope you take it the right way, but you
Mhm.
can hear the chemistry and the cohesion of the friendship way more even on these 4 songs. And I hear it on the record, but to your point, it feels like you're finding it. This feels like it's just there. Like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
soon as the
Yeah.
first song starts, it's like, it's not, it's Lucy. It's like, it's or Julien or whatever. It's like, oh no, it's boygenius. It's
yeah,
like it's a
also
band.
they
Yeah.
don't these songs like don't belong on the record to me. Like
Yeah.
the record
Yeah.
like couldn't be another way.
It's so true.
And I think these 4, like I have no idea where any of them would go in the sequence.
Yeah.
They make
Mhm.
no sense,
Mhm.
but they make so much sense together.
Also, like the writing felt a lot more like the original EP. Like
Mhm,
we
totally.
wrote a lot in the studio, and we're like editing each other while someone was doing a vocal take, or like we'd be like, go get a scratch of this, and then we'd be like, oh, that guitar's actually good, and we're just gonna save what we thought we were gonna throw away. And yeah, it feels kind of like sweet and immediate, not overthought.
Yeah, I think the decision making was a lot more like instinctual because we had time to like corporately belabor decisions, like to the benefit, I think, of the record, of making something that sounds cohesive just in a different way.
Mhm.
And there's like an immediacy to the decision making that came out of it being 3 days in the studio, and then like trying to be like sparse with the arrangements, not having really ambitious, because I think on the record also we had never had the experience of allowing ourselves like a wealth of time to be ambitious, to like
Mhm.
fully maximize a track and then edit it down. And so this is like slightly adorned scaffolding.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
really like bare.
It's beautiful how you can go there and then realize you're better at doing things that you could only do the first time around. It's like you only have the tools in the box to make this at the time, then you go and become something else, and then you come back to that, and it's like, I'm so much better at that.
Yeah.
Although I want to go back to that first EP because we didn't really speak too much about it the first time around we spoke. And, I don't know, there's something about the fact that the whole thing starts with Bite the Hand that is really poignant to me about the relationship that you've fostered with us as fans. I mean, we're all pretty obsessed with this band, as you can tell. Like, I have intro music and shit. I don't do that. And I think it's almost like, I know you could never have foresaw it, maybe you did, but it's like a really loving boundary. It's like, hey, we know this is special and it's probably going to translate, but just understand, like, it's not like that. It can never be like that. And that's why I love that song so much, because it's so knowing.
That's a nice way to think of that. I think over time I've realized it's helped me feel less like an animal in a zoo, like just people looking in and you just ignoring them. Because if you acknowledge, like, I know you're looking at me, I'm looking back at you, it impels people to be more respectful. And like ultimately I do want people to know, like, yeah, we're making and sharing this because we care. And like, yeah, of course I care what people think.
But it's very self-aware as well to know that what you're writing is so deeply human. It's difficult for us to not absorb it in a very human way. And when we're in very human experiences with people, we do cross emotional lines without meaning to. The amount of times,
for sure.
the amount of times I've said something to someone and they're like, "Well, I'm not ready for that," and I'm like, "Sorry, I'm just really emotional." I don't,
Well,
you know what I
it was
mean?
wild, like going on tour with Julien the first time in, what was that, 2016? Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
We went on tour together, and you know, I'd been on other tours. I toured with other songwriters, but people had, you know, Julien at the time was playing like, I don't know, like 500 capacity rooms.
Less even.
But
yeah.
every
Yeah.
one of the 500 people had some deep trauma to share with Julien because Julien was making them feel less alone in that. So it was like, if I went on tour with like some other band, it's like some people be like, "Great show! Oh my god, so excited to buy the T-shirt, so stoked to meet you." And with Julien, it's like everyone wanted to like grab both her hands and to say their deepest, darkest thing,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's definitely like stayed true with all three of us. And it's just like a very high percentage of intensity.
It's intense.
So to be able to share that with each other and talk about it has
Divides
been
it by
awesome.
3.
Yeah.
Well, my friend of mine said something to me once, which was really telling. He said, I was trying to reach out to a friend and have a moment with them because they were going through a tough time. And he said, he's not capable of that right now. Like, you got to give him some space. And I was like, I'm a fixer. I can fix this. Like, I can help this
Yeah.
person. And he said, Zip, which is like my nickname, goes, Zip, you got to be thoughtful with your thoughtfulness sometimes. And I think that
Totally.
it speaks to that, which is as fans, sometimes we do get so overwhelmed by the gift that we forget that it's like, hang on, it's a gift, right?
Yeah,
it's
totally.
for you. It's for you. We
Yeah.
don't share it necessarily that way.
That reminds me of a piece of advice that my friend Joe said. I like spoke at my high school's graduation this year, and I asked like other.
Did you feel
friends from-
complete afterwards? Did you feel like my
Oh,
childhood is
that
solved
was like
now?
that was a
Dunked.
like way more personally significant
Yeah.
like benchmark than like
Yeah.
Yeah,
some of
well,
the
Lucy's
more-
been waiting to finish high school, and it's like we've all been really supportive.
yeah. I was valedictorian. No, actually, they didn't have valedictorian at my school because it was like a nerd school, and it would have been like actual murder and
Yeah,
sabotage.
totally.
But like the advice that my friend, I just asked for a lot of advice from friends that graduated the same year to like impart on the youths. And one thing he said was like, it's not good enough to be honest. You also have to be careful. So like, just because you have something to say that's like true to you,
It's good.
like the way that you deliver it is so important. And also like not everything has to be said. Like some honesty is just true unspoken.
And also, sometimes let other people figure it out. Don't be the person who
Yeah.
constantly has to tell you, well, I think this and you'll be better if I tell you. It's like, can I not find that out for myself?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
maybe I should make a mistake or you know, just self-awareness isn't handed to you.
Well, and then also
it's
like
like-
something I think
Yeah.
about a lot is like you're saddled with a bunch of responsibility. Like I feel a bunch of responsibility physically in like the number of eyeballs that are at our gigs. And then I start thinking about like dividing like quality versus quantity like at those gigs when it's like a 200 cap and you can talk to 20 people and have a genuine human interaction with them for X amount of minutes in the day before you literally have to get in the car and drive to the next show.
But this is really interesting because in
You're-
creating that hierarchy, you've actually continued to embrace what Phoebe experienced in the first place, which is a desire to connect with the audience beyond just the performance. Normally, when people go on stage to play in front of 8,000 people, 800 people, and they say, I have a responsibility, their responsibility is like, I got to put on a show.
Well, no, but that's
You
what I'm
paid for a
saying is like
ticket, you know?
you change, you have to adapt and change. Like if you try to, in a really like oversimplified, like do a, you know, have a communist economy of attention and give everyone the same amount of attention, you're going to end up shortchanging everyone instead of giving my mom and dad, the people in my life, the like Calvin and Matt, who I've played music with since I was a child. Like those are the people who I can give focused attention to because I have expertise in being their friend. I can give these guys focused attention of love with expertise that I have from knowing them and it, like being curious about them and trying to be experts in their hearts.
Has that enabled you to create better boundaries and how we relate to you and what we expect from you being Julien Baker as an artist?
Mhm.
Totally. And I think that's something that I've learned from these guys is like how to like make limits on what you have to give so that you don't completely exhaust yourself and then end up giving almost next to nothing to everyone.
Yeah.
Give like
Totally.
everything to one thing. You know, put on an incredible show and
Yeah.
then get alone. Go
Get alone.
Get alone.
That's a
Get
great.
alone. It's that's
Great
good,
book.
right?
I have to get alone after the gig.
I think some way that I think about it that makes me feel good is that I just have an abundance of potential that I don't have to live into and can't. Like that sometimes I'll like see fans and I'm like, yeah, we probably would be friends. You know, like but
Yeah.
we're
That's
not
it.
going to be.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like the circumstances aren't gonna be like that. But you're probably really cool. And also if we talked for 2 hours, I would be endeared to you. Like
Yeah.
especially at like my shows, like seeing people like sing certain songs, like, well, I know for a fact that we relate on something super intense, and so
Yeah.
there's at least that everybody that you're in a room with, you have so much in common with.
I know what it's like to be in that front row and want so badly for you to say, hey, you look cool. Why don't you come back and have a cup of tea and we'll get to know each other? Like, but I can't love you, you know, how you want me to. And that's why I think it's such a beautiful opening statement, and it sets the tone for what the band's become, which is this beautiful gift of honesty and emotion and music. But you know, we're the band.
Yeah.
We're
You
the
read
band.
it right. Yeah.
We're the band. And I think also one of the cool things about coming back and doing the record and doing this tour was that you built the most beautiful, whether you meant to or not, you built the most beautiful armor ever, which is fun and smiling and laughter
Oh, yeah.
and
Totally.
joy. And it's like, we're having the best time ever. So you can all just like, I know it's emotional, but like have fun. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
Don't
It's
freak
funny
out.
because like all, at least my press photos with my solo project, like I just have the craziest bitchy resting face. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Oh my God. I'm just like
I make the same face in every photo.
every photo. Every
Yeah.
photo is like, I'm just like, how about relax every muscle? Also, it is my natural resting face where people come up to me and I feel like I have to like way overcompensate for whatever my face was just doing.
I'm
I just
the
like
opposite.
look.
My resting faces. And so when I meet them, I have to be like this.
Oh my God, I look like the cruelest person on the planet.
Coolest
The
person.
The coolest. But it is kind of it is kind of cruel because in a beautiful way, because some of these songs are designed for us to immerse ourselves so deeply into it. Then you guys are like, "What's up, dudes?"
Yeah.
So it's such a beautiful
that's-
contrast. You
That's
know?
something that I think we've all, I mean, maybe me the most, but we've all been called out on as our speaking voices being wildly different and wildly
Then
different than
the
our singing
tone
voices.
of or just even the tone of the music that we make. Just
Yeah.
kinda like,
Or like sing about killing somebody and they'll be like, ha
Well, I'm glad you mentioned what you write about, Lucy, because you know it's not for me to draw any kind of comparison between the three of you. As I've said before, and I think you took it the right way. You're the Beastie Boys of emotional honesty and discourse. It's so cool. No, it's true. And when I saw you live for the first time, I was like, man, which one's gonna sing next? This is so sick. You
finishing
know?
each other's.
It's so cool, and I love that because you know because that band raised me, so I'm glad that energy continues at least in my life. But I don't know if I made it clear last time, but I am such a fan of the way that you build romance out of the most normal, banal suburban experiences. I think Afraid of Heights, assuming that that's your work, is just such a stunning example of what your gift is. I mean, I don't want to live forever, but I don't want to die tonight. And when the black water ate you up like a sugar cube in a teacup, I got the point you were making when I held my breath till you came up. Stop with that.
I actually did
Oh,
plagiarize
thank you.
that. You know that?
Did you?
Well, privately. To
Okay.
like sometimes I'll put placeholder words in my own songs and they can be complete plagiarism, but I'm just like, it doesn't even have to be this theme, but I want it to feel the way that this line makes me feel. And I had the I don't want to die tonight
Yeah.
lyric. And I was
When
just like,
we,
I need
like-
something big at the end of this phrase that is like funny. You know what I mean?
I remember you telling me that, like, because we cut it from the record, so it was like, this could just not exist. And you were like, I want that lyric.
I want it so bad. I've
But
thought
now
about
we-
that
we
with
have it.
all of your music.
Honestly,
All of our
all of
yeah,
your
same.
it's
Yeah.
true. That's why I say, you remind me of the Beasties because I feel like they were each other's biggest fans.
Yeah.
Oh
They-
yeah,
they were-
100%.
Mike would rather hear MCA on the mic than himself and vice versa. In a
Oh,
weird
yeah.
way,
Sure.
It just continues. I'm so sorry if this makes you awkward, but the first time I heard I never rode a motorcycle, I never smoked a cigarette, I want to live a vibrant life, but I want to die a boring death. Because the thing about that's so beautiful is the boring death bit for me. Like, who wouldn't want to die boring? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, just lean me up in a chair and don't give me
Yeah.
anything that's stimulating and just allow me to drift.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the ideal death, which I think about too much,
Good
is that
morning.
you're
by the way, we're going down the line on this one, so start thinking right now.
All right,
Carry on,
ideal
I
please.
just thought about it's like you're so old that everyone thinks you're already dead. And when you die,
Yeah.
people are like, what? She was still alive? Damn, what a beautiful life. That's what I want
Yeah.
people to not even be sad. I want them to have already been so satisfied with what I was able to give
Yeah.
that it doesn't matter whether I live or die because everything I gave is enough.
Well, you're on the right path. I mean, seriously. Do you think does mortality ever crop into your mind? It does me. Sometimes I'm like, man.
Does mortality ever crop into your mind?
Yeah.
Zane asked to a group of fellow human beings tethered to this mortal coil.
Can you tell them about your tattoo?
No.
Okay, cool.
I have a
Can
tramp
you?
stamp now that says absurd freedom because I read The Myth of Sisyphus again because I love that book.
Wait, give Zane the middle finger
It's-
also.
Die now.
Oh.
Lucy's finger says die now.
It's from a
Do we
poem.
think about that?
No, but what's amazing about it as well is they could so be just like go fuck yourself statement if you put it right there.
I know.
But the fact that you put it there is so
like-
personal. It's
I
like
know.
only I can see it really.
It's the end of a poem called "The Undressing" by Lee Young Lee, and it's actually quite a horny poem.
It's so horny.
But
It's very horny.
I got it the day of our Forest Hill show in New York. We all got stick and pokes, and
That's the worst.
I was like, I'll read the poem out loud while I get this, and then I was like regretting it.
That's the worst. You know
It's
why?
like everyone around was like,
It's a lot of letters. It's a lot of letters for the stick and
also,
poke.
hot take, I don't think poetry should be heard. I think it should be read.
I agree. I don't think that's not
No.
hot.
No, I
What
think
do
it's
you
really
mean?
hot. All because like poetry is supposed to be read. Like,
Yes.
I
but
agree.
I think that the way that it is on a page,
Yes.
like the line breaks, and like I just think I like to read it more than hear it and hear myself say it.
If it's read or performed, doesn't it become something else anyway in a strange way?
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
me. I have a take on this, and that it is music. The poetry read aloud
Yes, that's what I was-
is
it's-
in the realm of music.
It's music. That's exactly what I was going to say. I feel like that's when it becomes something that is
think-
performative, when it's very nature, and that's a beautiful thing too. It doesn't have to
Yeah,
just be
like when
written.
you see Hanif read a poem, or when you see like,
I mean, I like that.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I like
but
that.
then there's like a performative aspect that you're like giving to the tone, like the cadence of the words, like the very like tone in like a musical sense, like the pitch of how you're saying them, even if it's like not within a 12-tone scale.
A Circle of Hell, in my opinion, is genius lyrics because they make you recite your lyrics just
Oh,
cold
God.
like a
Right,
poem, and
right.
it makes me want to. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
And then this is about the time.
But it's
also
okay
like
when
to
Zane does it.
rhyme. Oh yeah,
What?
It's okay when you do it at us.
Because you do it hype.
doing it for your
You're doing a hype.
own lyrics
Yeah.
is hell.
I don't want to
think.
recite my own lyrics ever. Yeah.
Especially over COVID, I had to do like my song "I Know the End." I had to look directly into my like photo booth camera and say
Into your
each
soul?
lyric
No.
Yeah.
of that song alone in my apartment, and I was like, I'm floating above myself.
Dude, but it's like the whole point of putting it in a song is so you have some other auditory context, so it's not just you saying
Totally.
like, especially with me, I feel like that I'm like I would never try to articulate like these really complex like really mixed around symbolism
It's a
and
comfort
stuff.
thing, isn't it? At the
Yeah.
end of the day, isn't it a search for comfort? The words and the feelings and what you're trying to express is by its very nature scary. It's hard to
Yeah.
acknowledge those things. And as soon as you reach for the instrument, right? As soon as you're like,
You're aching to play us a tune.
Yeah.
I want to hear
it's
it.
so mean to me, man. It's like,
That wasn't
Why are you
mean.
gonna
I
be mean?
swear that wasn't mean.
that was
Let's
like
hear it,
such a.
Zane.
You're trying so hard. To
No,
be
no,
the
you're trying.
band.
I recognize the enthusiasm.
You do.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as soon as you reach for the instrument and you're like, all right, okay, now I know what I'm doing, you know. Okay, now that's comfort, right? That's comfort. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
this is nice.
I feel like that when we had to do the singing with Muna, I was like, I don't get to have a guitar, and I'm like, what?
You want a guitar?
Wait, what?
Oh,
No, like it makes me feel comfy. I'm
Can
like,
you
what
do
do
like
I
the
do with
Christian
my?
band, like just strumming underneath
Like,
everything we say to
no,
make it sound
because
really
also-
It's
impactful?
kind of what I'm trying to do. Like, I mean,
No, that was
especially,
nice.
especially when Julian's talking. Like, if I just do a little strum, like if you
It's
continue
Do a
with
little
your
strum.
thought,
You
And
play
then
better
you-
guitar than me.
You go,
whatevs.
God, we just.
We lift up
and that's why,
Marianne.
and that's why you don't do songwriting sessions for other people. Because as soon as you get in a session room and someone's like, all right, Julian, we got Julian for 6 hours, let's write a hit. And they're like, and you're like, I can't do it. I'm so sorry. I can't do it.
No, it has to be unobserved.
How often do you pick up an instrument when you're not actually in the studio or doing your thing?
Julian all the time.
Often.
Us
Often.
never.
I can't be arsed.
I can't be arsed.
I'm writing lyrics constantly, like
Which is music.
all the time.
That's poetry.
Yeah, my notes in my phone are egregious, but
Yeah.
wow, everything I say feels so like impactful.
Yeah.
and,
That's what I'm
like,
saying. It's the
emotional.
comfort experiment.
Yeah.
That's the point. As soon as you pick up an instrument, it gives it a different purpose, and it also becomes something I think that does start to take the shape of a gift. Because I think poetry at times can feel very much like I need to put something down on paper or in word-like form so I can better understand what's going on inside. As soon as it becomes a song or something like that, it's like whether you realize it or not, you are starting to carve a different shape out of stone, and you are going to show it to somebody in a weird way.
Well, and also like the purpose of music, like old, like ancient communal music and like religious music, like people started singing prayers because like monks like the sung voice travels farther than the spoken voice, but doesn't harm your voice like shouting. Like people put prayers to music so that you can remember melodies. Like when you think about the Adhan or something, or when you think about any of the like Catholic prayers that are sung in the Vulgate, like it's like a storytelling apparatus to help you remember. I think y'all understand that very well. Like y'all are always like Phoebe, I think about this with you too, when you're like, when you bring us something that just feels like you've been sifting through, like you understand the lore of your life, contextualized in the story that you have to be telling, like as like the office you've been assigned, essentially, of like being talented at music. And you're like, how best can I like report this with accuracy, and tact and beauty, because the beauty isn't like non-important.
As the fan of your music, the tact is a key word as well, because so often I feel like you're writing in the experience privately, and then you have to figure out how to translate that. Like even if you go to Voyager and it's like, you know, there are days spent tangled up together and sometimes you let me read your mind, and then there are nights you say you don't remember when you stepped on the gas and you asked if I'm ready to die. That's just wildly amazing writing. But that came from something, and you have to do it in a way that doesn't feel like you're reporting on the exact experience. Otherwise, it won't mean the same to me, and it might not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it has to be some tact involved in how you approach these experiences, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I found like a draft of that song, because it's only 3 verses, really. It just had like so many verses.
It does feel like every verse is its own song
For sure.
to me in a weird way.
I wasn't excited to show it to people. I was just kind of like, it was percolating. And then by the time it was these 3 stanzas, I was just like trying to show it to everyone and really proud of it. So
This might be my favorite Phoebe song.
It's unbelievable.
I'm
Thanks, y'all.
top 5 percentile.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's truly incredible.
I'm really glad it's a boygenius song, because I was like,
Well,
I'm glad.
that's the tough question no one wants to ask, but everyone wants to ask. That's why this is why that's why you're so cruel about it, because we want this to carry on, but we also love it when it doesn't. And that's one of the things I love about the show is that you've carefully selected a song individually to put into this amazing live set, at least so far. How did you choose those? Did you do it as a team? Did you do it and did you leave each other alone to figure out what you wanted to play?
Well, there's just no. It's kind of like a secret third or I guess fourth Boy Genius project.
Yeah.
The 3 solo songs all have kind of the same subject matter, and we all sing on them on our records.
Yes.
So they're Boy Genius songs to
They're
me.
Boy Genius songs. Yeah, no, I recognize that, and I recognize that the collaborative nature of each of them. I just wasn't sure whether that was the driving factor behind them showing up in the set like that, because you've got so many songs that fans would love to hear, and you are such fans of each other. It's not like you're going to be like, oh, please don't play that. It's kind of, you know.
Well, it was so exciting to me that we didn't have to reach into our own catalog.
Yeah.
You know, that was definitely a question in the beginning. We were like, I wonder if we'll have to like mix up the set, or people will be expecting too much, or expecting, you know,
Solo songs.
songs. We don't know. And the fact that it's a standalone project that's bigger than us
Yeah.
is so sick.
Yeah.
On that note, can I flip the cliche where I would normally ask an artist in a solo situation? I say solo because that's what's normally out of the context of the band. It's normally the other way around. Like,
Sure.
when are you going to get the band back together? This is great, but when's the band coming back together? Like, will we have to wait 10 years for solo albums? Do you know what I mean? Because this is so great. Like it's almost the reverse psychology of what I'm used to experiencing, because this is so great.
I think the ethos is like it's
That was how I stumped you off.
I don't think any of us know.
trying
to be
we don't know how to
considerate.
answer.
we just
Yeah.
try to do our favorite thing next,
Yeah.
each of us, and I think we've achieved that, you know, in putting out the EP, this EP. It's like, this is the fastest turnaround time of anything I put out other than our first EP.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're so excited about it. It's coming out. I just want to take that into everything.
Yeah.
So
But then also, like, I think it's sick to have Boy Genius exist almost like as like a collective of independence, like artists that share, or like, you know, friggin' tattooers, or like people that do hair, like people with individual talents and like individual styles that they bring to a collective project that are all free at any time. I'm like, well, that's why the story, we were still in each other's lives when we all 3 put out solo records, and we had those 3 songs that we stick in the middle of the set, because we're still like storytelling with each other in mind, not because we forced ourselves to be in an environment, but because we like naturally are already surrounding each other and seeking each other's counsel and input creatively because I value them. So it's like whether or not
That's way more important than infrastructure or some kind of like
well,
architecture
and
that's laid out
the
before you.
nomenclature and like the how it's marketed or how it's received or like how it is, like that is more fluid, I think, than our like connection as musicians. Like I'm still gonna send y'all the music I write. And
Yeah,
then like
exactly.
who knows if I will even be the one putting out the masters. But I'm like, we're working collectively on stuff because I can't help but to.
It's just so beautiful to hear songwriters come together and love the process and be writing at such a high level. And it has the success of everything that's happened, the construct of success, like Madison Square Garden, Hollywood Bowl, #1 album, this is awesome shit. You know, has it made it easier in a weird way for you to approach what it is that you do? Like, I know some of these songs weren't finished or whatever, but did it feel more comfortable going in and doing the rest? Normally people say the pressure of it, but I'd imagine for the 3 of you, given that you control it and you own it and it's yours, it's probably better, isn't it? It's just way better that it's happening and it's working and it's brilliant.
I actually hadn't thought about that, but I think
Yeah.
yes. Like we were like
Hmm.
pretty sure how it was gonna go. We were pretty sure people were gonna like our record. We were so excited about it. Lucy kept joking like that her roommates were like, it would be so funny
It'd
if
be
this
hilarious
flopped.
if it flopped. Yeah.
Because we're all so pumped about it, and like all our friends were like, you know, Marshall would get in my car and be like, play the Boy Genius album again, you know? And going into the EP, having already played a show, or this EP having already played a show, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it took the edge off a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like big pressure
Yeah.
around this, but I was gonna say I didn't feel that much pressure around the record, but I guess I did. Or like the
exactly.
the anticipation of like how's this gonna hit.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it in the studio. The only pressure in the studio, which was actually the same for both for me, was like we need to be proud of it.
Yeah.
And just like figuring out those like math problems basically.
Yeah, we all need to be
of
proud
just like
of it.
the the 3 Venn diagram circles of our taste and our ideas. Like how do we get the entire thing into the middle? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I still felt I think
Julien feels pressure for all of us.
I'm the
But here's the thing
I'm
about
the
Julien
pressure
is that we
scapegoat.
That's why we're good is that Julian's feeling the pressure.
Yes.
No, that's not true. Y'all feel
It's
pressure like no, I feel like unnecessary. I think I'll spin myself out about it. Like I'm on 6th gear all the time. Dude, when y'all were like, please tell us the lyrics of this song.
Oh my god.
Y'all cornered me. Y'all
Which one?
cornered
Which
me
one?
in a room and
we
we
had
were
to
like
sing it in like 20 minutes,
Right.
and we hadn't read the lyrics of Powers yet.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
I'm
he's
not
like,
good enough. Well, because
you're like, I bet it's good.
But also the first like 2 times you did it, you were like, we were like, what?
I was so nervous. I was so nervous. Well, and also I was like, what y'all are bringing? I was like, oh my god, what like? I don't know.
That's my favorite JB song.
Really?
100%.
God.
It just
really
like
good.
does. I think because I have many favorites, of course, but I think it's like it would be like the last song in the Julien Baker musical. You know what I mean? Like it's
It
somehow
is.
like encapsulating
It's
everything
like,
without really being a callback. I guess other than Black Hole, it's kind of a callback to Black Hole, but it's like
Yeah.
it's not really a callback, but it sounds like your music
it's got
meeting.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like
itself.
operatic. It's got like
Yeah.
some Sufjan melodies and
Yeah.
vibes.
Totally.
But I think I was so because we had given each other everything of a certain caliber, and we had like a limited time. And then I keep using sports analogies, but it's like
I love that
I
about
don't-
you, though. You did last time, too. It was
but
awesome.
imagine, okay, so like, you know, the analogy of being like playoffs game 6 and you injure your ACL.
Yeah.
But then imagine if you like win the playoffs and everybody is like, whoa, you're the greatest basketball player ever. Imagine if you do better than you thought you were ever going to do. You win the playoffs, you're the national champion. And then they're like, okay, we're going to put you on the USA team. You're going to go to the Olympics. And you're like, there's more.
Yeah.
There's higher stakes
Yeah.
than I thought there were gonna be. Like I was like, I can't. Like the fear of fumbling it
I
is
wonder-
really present because it matters. Like the more it matters, the more I feel the intensity of it mattering, the more I'm like holding the music like a Fabergé egg.
I wonder if there will ever come a day that you will meet the highest stakes you could imagine and then you just plateau and then they aren't mounting. Like we played Madison Square Garden. Like the stakes are
No,
that high.
The opposite. No, because I feel like when they plateau for people, then people start like recklessly like treating like really important things. I'm like, I don't know. I want to stay stressed.
Okay.
I get
All
that. I actually,
Go off.
I
I want to
actually,
stay stressed.
I actually get that because
If I'm like
just
yawn,
like
Madison
reverence.
Square
yes,
Garden.
it's
Yes.
reverence for the experience. I'm not trying to say that anybody,
But it does have negative implications when I won't tell you the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because y'all could have had input. Like, imagine they were horrible,
Can I
and then you
say-
were like,
While we're still talking about Powers, Julien, like the record we recorded with Catherine Marks producing. The rest we brought in all our little guys that we individually make records with. So it was like a lot of people in the control room, but everyone that we have our vocabularies that we've built for years, and they all got along really well, which was really cool. But Julien went in to do like a guitar and vocal take of Powers, and like most of the people there hadn't heard it. We essentially hadn't heard
Yeah.
it. And the like beginning where Julien like sighs,
yes.
I think that you assumed that would be cut out and it would start
I did.
after that.
Yeah.
But we
I
were
was-
like, you have to keep it. And I watched everyone started looking at each other and like holding their breath through the whole take. And I think that take is the one that you hear, right? Like the first
Wow.
run through that you did,
Wow.
guitar and vocal at the same time.
there might be
Yeah.
like one baby
So that
comp at the end, but
moment when you,
I'm so disappointed. I'm like, because I've done.
no, it's worth actually doing. Hang on one sec.
It's
worth
so
actually-
stupid.
Hang on.
No.
How did it?
How did it start? It started like that.
It's so perfect. It's so perfect. It's about the most real experience we get listening to someone we admire actually rising to the occasion.
But I'm also
Yeah.
like, I feel like sometimes people
Totally.
have that attitude you're talking about where it's like, and then I walked in the booth and I was a one-take tiger and I'm just like friggin' incredible and it was magic the first time it
Nah.
happened. It's like, no, it took 1,000 freaking takes because this matters.
But here's the beautiful thing about that. Can I just be a fan for a second and just tell you something? In that moment right there, like when you're playing that guitar and you have to find a different level because you've got your friends who you love and admire and all your collaborators, and this is new boygenius stuff, and it's your song. It's really, you've got to, everyone's got their songs. So you got to be like, oh, that Sigh is 3 seconds to go. Pass me the ball. Pass me the ball. Pass me the ball. Hang on. Shoot.
How did it?
Score! The game's over. Baker wins it in the last second. Because it's true. It's true because that you found the level you needed to do the song.
No.
I'm just
I
trying
feel
to
like
keep it in a
that's
sports
y'all. That's
analogy.
y'all,
You know what I
y'all
mean?
doing Steph Curry, not even looking at it go in, and I'm watching the net like.
I
this
like
shit fucking works.
Steph
my
Curry
favorite-
does not look at the net in the last 3 seconds. He does it in the second quarter. Okay? When it doesn't matter as much.
I was just gonna say, like, that song is so heavy.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing about that song is just how the full band arrangement of it is implied in the acoustic
Yeah.
version. Like, it's somehow heavier because we didn't multi-track.
Yeah.
It's probably like 5 tracks.
But I feel
or
that very,
something.
I feel
It's
that very
our
much about the
voices
way
and-
you write. Actually,
Totally.
I feel that JB, when you write songs that are more reduced in arrangement, and it's just you and one instrument with a tiny little bit of additional thing, I feel like it's a band. Like I feel like
Totally.
you bring the weight of that in
Yeah.
your music.
But then that's something that y'all, I think, wisely stuck to when you were like listening in the booth because we had just listened through that Neutral Milk Hotel record. And when we were driving back and to Coachella and Phoebe, you were like, this is so hard.
Yeah.
It's like
It is so
it's like a
hard.
punk song, but
Yeah.
it's just like an acoustic guitar and a trumpet.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, I turned over the raw material and you guys were like, I get it.
Mhm.
And then
Like, you know how
Made it.
Sebado are just like
I love Sebado.
same. And you know how they're just so punk but kind of sensitive, and
Yeah.
even Jason's songs, which is so raw, so emotionally vulnerable, and Lou's like, but I'm really just a soft like
Yeah.
it's always somewhere in this intangible thing with them.
Yeah,
where
it's
I'm
in the
like,
performance.
It's totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Which is why I think like your tiny desks resonate so much, JB, is like, it's just like, yeah, you're like a full on heavy rock band as one guy.
You really are.
thanks.
You really are. These are the three of the best songs. I mean, we've established over the course of this conversation, I think each of you individually and together at some point complimented each other on each of the 3 individual songs, excluding the first song, which you come through as your favorite song of each other. And that's just so cool. It's not the rest, really. It's more like the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like this is the leftovers from the album. It's
Yeah.
more
Oh, yeah.
like this
we
is
don't think about it like
this
that.
is the next. This is where we're at.
Yeah, other than Afraid of Heights, because I was like totally like burning my Google Drive by overplaying it. And it's funny that it didn't end up on the album. And like I said, it's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have a place on the record. It has a place in this as like a shining star, but it's just funny because it was like one of my favorite ones
Thanks
for the
Phoebe.
album. And I was like, no, this has to be on the,
Yeah.
this has to be on the rest.
I just love how you all paint pictures so uniquely, individually, and yet together. It's just perfect. It's just like it's such rare air that we're in with boygenius, which is why I get so nervous. I'm finally not nervous, but I get so nervous when you come in, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see the bowl show. I'm so glad you're back in this room. That kind of means we can do it again.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see you all, and thank you so much for continuing to keep this moving for us and for yourselves, most importantly, as we've established. We will never bite the hand. It's good to see you. Thank you so much.
Great to see you,
Thank
man.
you, Zane.
That
Thank
rocks.
you, Zane.